I picked the wrong music. I wanted to have the happy, fun music for this one. Start over. Game 82 just happened of a season where the Canucks started off absolutely terrible, and it ended up being a fun season. So, while the Canucks lose 3-2 in a shootout in what is honestly a meaningless game, all we were hoping for were some milestones, which we got real close to. So tonight, we're not going to be angry. We're not going to be mad that Oliver Ekman-Larsson was the fifth shooter or the sixth shooter for the Canucks. We're not going to be mad that JT Miller didn't get 100 points. We're not going to be mad that Bruce Boudreau couldn't get his 600th win, or Elias Patterson didn't get his 70th point, or whatever, because all of those are such small things that when you're that close, it doesn't really matter all that much. At the end of the day, the Vancouver Canucks went from a team that was 7 wins below 500 and ended up being 10 games above 500 at the end of the year, and were in the playoff push until game 80. To me, that is, it can't be described in any way other than just a successful, fun ride that we hope gets better next year. Because we've been at the point where this team hasn't been winning. You know, they had that one playoff push in the 2020 bubble, and that was great. But this is a team that was projected to finish around 90 to 94 points. They got, 1 point tonight? That's already chalked up. They finished with 92 points. Right about where they were expected to be. Now, the way they got there was wild, and we were hoping they'd be a playoff team, but you know what? This team exceeded all expectations over the last 4.5 months, almost 5 months, I guess, and that's something that we can celebrate. We'll break this one down really quick, and then we're just gonna hang out for a bit and talk about this season, talk about what's next, talk about I guess the upcoming offseason, because that was the last Canucks game we're gonna see for the next 5.5 months until the regular season starts once again. On the plus side, though, we will have playoff hockey, and that's going to be fun to watch, even if our team isn't involved. Let's start out with the game recap here. It is Spencer Martin. Now, on Canucks After Dark on Monday, Clay asked me what I would do, and I said, because the Canucks played Tuesday and then back-to-back Thursday, Friday, and I said, you know what, if the Canucks are out by Tuesday, before that game Tuesday, I say you play Martin all 3 games. And that's exactly what happened. It was a bit of a roundabout way to get there. But I was right. So let's talk about that a little bit. And man, Spencer Martin, he's going to be a heck of a backup next year. That is for sure. Koskinen in net for the Edmonton Oilers. No McDavid, no Draisaitl. Kind of good for the Canucks, kind of bad for the Canucks, or bad for us watching because it's a little bit less fun. First period, Canucks dominate. It culminates with about 2.5 minutes left. An absolutely ridiculous snipe. JT Miller just rips it, just slings it. Little feed from Brad Hunt. Gets to .99 with about 42.5 minutes to play. It ended up being 47.5 minutes, I guess, with overtime. Hunt and Garland get assists on that one. Shots in the first period, 17-6. No scoring in the second. A few excellent saves from Spencer Martin, though. Shots ended up being 13-11 for Vancouver. In the third period, the Oilers even it up. It is Kulak, a rocket from the point. Canucks strike back about 2 minutes later, though. Connor Garland gets his 19th goal of the season, which is excellent to see. I guess that puts him at 52 points for the year, which is pretty good considering he was pretty quiet for a lot of the season. And then Spencer Martin robs McLeod a 2-on-1, which could have taken the game over there. But then Edmonton does even it again. Another point shot from Tyson Barrie goes through 2 screens, about 11 minutes to go on that one. Alex Chiasson takes a penalty with 5 minutes to play, which looked risky for the JT Miller push. Canucks kill it off. So we go to overtime. And JT Miller gets as close as you're going to get to getting 100 points. He gets that feed, that cross-ice feed, cross-crease from Quinn Hughes, and just has excellent save. Let's be real here. Excellent save from Koskinen. If JT Miller is able to elevate that, which is so hard to do when it's coming in, because basically your stick's like this, and it's coming in this way, so you kind of have to like it's really hard to get any elevation on those just because you're kind of shooting it at a 45-degree angle, and it's tough. But a great save. Some craziness happens. Quinn Hughes loses his stick, tries to get a stick from the bench. Two people throw their sticks at him. He doesn't get any stick, and then he makes a 6, stack the pads, block on the pass. Super cool. Quinn Hughes was phenomenal tonight. Can we just talk about that for a second? Quinn Hughes is such an absolute stud. He's just so good. I mean, how much ice time did he get tonight? He played 20, almost 26 minutes tonight. So good on him. Great game from Quinn Hughes. Then Oliver Ekman-Larsson goes 2-on-1 with Brock Besser. Miller had played it up, so this could have been the 100th point. Oliver Ekman-Larsson goes for the shot here. I think you make that pass every day. If he just plays that over to Besser, it's a better chance to score. But then 51 seconds to go. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, there's no way they just take a timeout here to like give Miller some rest, right? Like, would that be kind of rude to the other team to do that? And then Bruce did it anyways. So I loved that. Don't move from him. And then a really cool highlight in OT, Spencer Martin almost gets caught going for the puck, has to hustle back and is able to stay with it enough that Zach Hyman fumbles the puck. So we're off to a shootout. In the shootout, you see a lot of X's down here. There's some good and some bad with that, because 5 of those X's are Spencer Martin. The Oilers shots, they had Nugent Hopkins. He had no chance. Spencer Martin just stuck with him. Evander Kane went for a quick shot, and he just gloved it. Excellent glove. Kyler Yamamoto was just so intimidated by Spencer Martin that he just played the puck into the corner and gave up, sort of Kucherov'd it into the corner. Brock Besser tries to go. That's not the Oilers. Derek Brassard. Is it Derek Brassard for them? Really? He gets stopped by the pad. Tyson Barrie tries to go backhand and misses, and then it's Devon Shore who scores. But 5 saves from Spencer Martin. Well, technically saves, but a couple of them were misses. But still, Spencer Martin, excellent game, excellent overtime, excellent shootout from him. Where does that put him on the year? Has his stats? His stats haven't updated yet. Coming into this game, he had a .951 save percentage. He stopped how many shots? How many shots do the Oilers have tonight? He stopped 31 of 33. So that's actually going to make his save percentage go down, which is crazy. And a 1.72 goals against average. This will count as 2 more, so it'll go slightly up. It'll still be below 2. Spencer Martin is excellent. He'll be 27 going into next year. 2 years, cheap contract, basically, league minimum almost. Completely buriable contract. He was fantastic. Pluses for this game, and they're pluses for the game and pluses in general because it's the wrap up of the season. Oh, I'm dying. JT Miller, Bruce Boudreau. Actually, my first one goes to Bruce Boudreau for recognizing the importance of trying to get his player to 100 points. Because in reality, does it matter? No. Like in NHL terms, right? This game had no impact. 99 points, 100 points are almost the same. It probably doesn't have an impact on his next contract. But Bruce Boudreau, he's a player's coach. He knows that, his boys want to get milestones. He knows JT Miller's 2 points away from 100. So what does he do? He plays him for 24 minutes tonight out of 65. That's awesome. Like just to go out and do that and be like, look, I'm going to give you every chance to do it because you're a big part of this team and you deserve it. Guys, remember that. Even if JT Miller isn't on this team at the start of next year, even if this was JT Miller's last game in a Vancouver Canucks uniform, it's not just him. It's the other guys around him, right? It's the other guys in the dressing room that look at that, or even people around the league who see that and be like, that's a guy I want to play for. That's a coach I want to play for because he gets it. Like he's a player's coach, right? Bruce doesn't get his 600th win of his career. He gets to 599. I'm sure he will get that one in the first game or 3-ish next year. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But hopefully the first game next year, Bruce Boudreau gets that 600th win. Just not tonight. But yeah, JT Miller, has exceeded everyone's expectations. And like I was saying, if this is the end of JT Miller in a Canucks uniform, what a run, right? I mean, to basically for the Canucks to have traded a first round pick to get a guy who in this offseason, if they are going to trade him, they're going to get more than that back. They truly picked up an appreciating asset. All the criticism I give Jim Benning, but it's been a slam dunk. He has been such an integral part of this team, and he's going to be a hell of a challenge to replace. But man, it has been so fun to watch him, and all the times that we can complain about, oh, he didn't back check hard enough here or whatever. You got a guy who puts up 99 points for you. I don't care how much he back checks that much, to be honest. Connor McDavid's not very good defensively. I'd love to have him on this team. He got 125 points or something this year. Excellent year from JT Miller, but so many other players that I want to touch on here. Quinn Hughes is the obvious one, right? Quinn Hughes went from being what were his numbers last year? Quinn Hughes went from in his career, or last year, he was a -24. Plus minus isn't everything, but he was a -24. He had 41 points in 56 games. He said over the offseason that he wanted to work on fixing that plus minus and he wanted to be a better defensive player. And what does he do? He comes out, ends up being a +9 on a team that's middle of the pack, basically, right? We're talking about a team that finished with basically a what was their goal differential by the end of the year there? 13. So the whole team as a whole was a +13. He was a +9. Playing who God knows how many minutes a night, like between 23 and 30 minutes a night. I mean, I see in the game against Ottawa, April 19th, he played 30 minutes. Tonight he played, I think, 25-ish. And he did better on the score sheet, right? He had, how many points is that? 68 points this year. One short, of course, but 68 points in 76 games, including 60 assists. He broke Doug Lidster's record for most points by a defenseman for the Canucks in a season, and he's 22 years old. I guess he's 23, but he started the season technically being under 23. Wait, no, he is 22. Yeah, sorry, math is hard. He's 22 years old. He's gonna break that record a few more times, I think. We're talking about a top 10 defenseman in the league, right? Sure, he's not Cale Makar, but no one is, literally. Like maybe Adam Fox is up there, but I mean, Cale Makar's ridiculous. He's got like 30 goals this year. So just like the fact that the Canucks have him locked up for a handful of more years is excellent. So happy to watch him play. Connor Garland, 50 points on the year. I think he actually gets up to 52 with his goal and assist tonight, which is great. Elias Patterson went from being, from Andrew Walker saying he should be in the AHL to setting a career high in points, scoring, getting 68 points on the year, 32 goals, 36 assists. And almost all of that came in the second half of the season. So the turnaround from Elias Patterson, I said it for months that I wasn't worried about Elias Patterson. I was a little bit, but I feel vindicated there. Elias Patterson turned it around. Bo Horvat, 31 goals in 70 games, a 30-goal scorer. Didn't even finish the season. I mean, he's got a nice little extension lined up, I'm sure, in the summer. Brock Besser, again, heating up later in the year. Tanner Pearson ended up being pretty good value, even though I didn't like that contract, although we know he's going to get traded because Jim Rutherford loves trading Tanner Pearson. Whether it's Vasily Podkolzin, who came in as a rookie and made a fan favorite. He's one of everyone's favorite players now. You look at that interview yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday morning, the whole Bruce, there it is, and his first English, media availability. This was just a fun season. Even, you look at the goaltenders. Thatcher Demko, a .915, voted team MVP, played in 64 games, 61 starts, 3 relief appearances. I mean, he's so good. Yaroslav Halak, sure, he wasn't that great for the team. Still put up a 903. And then Spencer Martin coming in and being the weird hero that no one expected. And just, overall, from where we were on December 4th, and I remember December 4th very vividly because I was at a house party and I was gone. Let's be real. The next day, Benning and Green get fired. The team's at 8-15-2, and we were at the point in early to mid-November that we were coming on to this very show, whether it was this or it was Canucks After Dark, and I was thinking on here, and I was thinking with Clay on Canucks After Dark, what do we do for the next 5 months? Because there are almost 60 games left, 55 games left that are meaningless. Because at the time they were. This team had like a 0.5% chance of making the playoffs at that time. And that was fair. That was probably generous at that time. To go from that and to get 4.5, 5 months, 20 weeks of fun hockey that mattered, that had them push for a playoff spot that would have been an unbelievable miracle, and it didn't happen. But man, again, game 80 had meaning technically. Just an excellent fun ride. And I am glad that they turned it around because, man, this would have sucked for the last few months. I think that's my spiel for now. I've been going for about 16 minutes. So let's bring in you, the people. And let's finish off this season a bit strong here. Probably not going to be on for too long, but let's get to the end here. Not a lot of comments, questions in here, but we do have Agam. And again, thank you all of you, and I'll thank you all at the end here as well. But Agam's been a great contributor in the comments section. Always likes my tweets. I appreciate that. 92 points, eh? Who would have thought? Not me. You kidding me? 92 points? This team? There's no shot they're getting 92 points. Yeah, the fact that's where they ended up is crazy. The playoff bar is usually at 95. This year it ended up being, what was the playoff bar? 97 was the playoff bar, which is a little higher than normal, but that's fair. Canucks were close. Canucks finished 2 points back of Vegas, and Vegas isn't making the playoffs, which is great. Yeah, that is great. Jaskran almost cried when Miller didn't get the 100th point. I was hoping it would have been great, especially after he scored in the first. I thought it was going to happen, especially when Edmonton tied it with like 10 minutes left, because I was kind of mad because I was like, oh, if the Canucks are up, Edmonton will pull the goalie, and then Miller has it easier. But I was like, well, at least if the Oilers have tied it, then we get overtime, and then it's 3-on-3, and then maybe Miller can do something, and it didn't happen. But I was hoping for sure. Trevor's saying Martin's undefeated in regulation. Is that true? That's so dumb. That's such a dumb stat. I guess it is. Hey, no, that's not true. Yeah, it is. It is. Sorry, I was looking at his Colorado numbers. Yeah, so he ends up being 3-0-3 in his stint. So 9 points in 6 games. That is pretty good. Jaskran says next year they're making the playoffs. I hope so. Agam says, if you told me when we fired Benning that we'd be in the race until game 80, I'd say you're crazy. I would have too. I would have taken it, but it wouldn't have made any sense. Agam's also asking any plans for off-season stuff. I don't know. I have nothing planned out. I'm very busy now. Work is busy. Life is busy, which is why I've been doing this less. Draft lottery, maybe. Again, Canucks can only go up 10 spots this year with the new rules, so we'll see. Draft for sure, free agency for sure. We'll do stuff around there. We'll play it by ear. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell, do all that good stuff. We'll see where we end up. Reaction Club, they finished the season with 40 wins for the first time in many years. We had 330 goal scorers for the first time in 27 years. and we've had a player who finished in top 15 in points, which is crazy. A guy to have 99 points and to be top 15 only is absolutely absurd. But this year scoring has just been so broken. Oh man, NHL.com is struggling. I just get a spinning wheel. I want to see the stats. There we go. I got it. We're back. No, he's top. JT Miller finishes ninth, it looks like. Ninth in points with 99 points. Top 10. Connor McDavid, 123. Huberdeau, 115. Goudreau, 115. Draisaitl, 110. Kaprizov, 108. Matthews, 106. 60 goals, by the way. Stamkos, 106. Kachuk, 104. And then JT Miller with 99. Just ahead of Marner and Panarin. And Yossi. Roman Yossi has 95 points. No big deal. That is crazy. Angam says Tampa gave us Martin for free. Hey, you can't count out future considerations. All right. That guy might be a star. Jaskrin says Demko will finally get the rest he needs next season because he'll have a reliable backup. I hope so. You also have to keep in mind that if you're sort of a bubble team, they're going to ride Demko, right? If this team is just sort of like right on that playoff line like they were for the last few months here, or last couple of months, I should say, month and a half, you're going to play Demko a lot. So hopefully they can get a bit of a buffer to allow them to play Martin a little bit more, get Demko a bit more rest, things like that. Sam says we'd be crazy to not give Bruce at least one full season behind the bench, given his records here and popularity amongst the fan base. Yeah, it would be really tough to get rid of him. As this management group is a brand new group of people, it's a PR nightmare. If you get rid of him and then you do bad, everyone's going to be like, okay, well, you guys are dumb. We all want Bruce back. And if you do bring Bruce back and then they don't do well, you can be like, well, it was the right decision, right? Like, whatever. So there's no risk to really bringing him back unless you think he's genuinely not a good coach if you're the management group, and like you don't think he'll get you into the playoffs, but that's crazy. He's a great regular season coach. So it seems it's going to happen. I have no doubts in my mind. Jaskran says, my bets are there will be trades at the draft. Do you think we push in free agency? They don't have enough money to really push in free agency. They might make a splash. They might move Miller. I think that's probably in my mind the play because he's going to ask for a ton of money. I don't know. I think they'll probably do something similar to this last year. They get a bunch of depth guys that are pretty cheap and make some easy breezy, beautiful moves. Kai saying Quinn Hughes is so good it's unbelievable. His head work and ability to hold the line is insane. I think we're so used to it sometimes we forget how elite he is. That's fair. Yeah, his edge work's crazy. And you look at his assist yesterday on Chason's goal, where he's on the wall and any other player would have just dumped it deep, and he just sort of pivots, goes backwards, spins around, goes down the line and fires it on net. There's only about probably 5 defensemen in the NHL that can do that, and he's one of them, right? Which is awesome. Lieb says, I honestly think Martin should give the belt to Bruce. Yeah, they didn't win. And that's what I was hoping too, as I was hoping they would win and then they'd give the belt to Bruce and it would be this happy moment. Now I think they should anyways. I think that Spencer Martin should have the belt in his locker. I think he should give it. I think he should. This is how I would write it if I was a script writer. I would say Spencer Martin, slide the belt to either Bo Horvat if he's there, even though he's hurt. If he's not there, then slide over to JT Miller and have one of them go to Bruce and give him the belt. Because that just, makes the most, like, it would just be the perfect moment. I hope we get something like that. But that's what I would do. Jaskran says, can't believe we have to wait 5 months now for Canucks hockey. It is unfortunate. At least look, the next 2 months is going to be excellent playoff hockey, right? And I'm sure we'll talk about it a little more in Canucks After Dark. Every Monday will sort of be your playoff hub. But I mean, you look at some of these matchups, right? Which I don't have open anymore. You look at, you might get Toronto, Boston. Actually, you can't. They fell out. Okay, you get Toronto, Tampa Bay. That'll be fun. You get Florida and Washington. You get Boston and Carolina, Rangers and Pittsburgh. And then on the West, I mean, you get Colorado against Nashville. Colorado might light them up. That could be fun. Dallas, Calgary. Calgary is going to be scary, I think. Minnesota, St. Louis, Edmonton, LA. And it's playoff hockey. It's going to be so, so fun. So even though there's no Canucks hockey, it's summer. You know, you get to watch some playoff hockey in the evening. During the day, go outside, get some fresh air, play some golf if you're a golfer. You know, it's going to be a fun summer, I think. Nicole says Quinn rocked the season. Agree. Jazzcran says Quinn Hughes will put up 80 points at least once, maybe in 90. If scoring continues the way it did this year, where the goal, there's like an extra like third of a goal per game, or whatever is half a goal a game, then yeah, probably. He's gonna be hella good. Let's see. Justin says, hi, everyone. Oh, it was the wrong one. Hi, everyone. Thanks for everything this season. Wouldn't have been as fun without the people and fans. I agree, and I'll touch on that at the end. Thank you, Justin. Bruce, at the beginning of the season, I would have wondered who the heck is Lamico. He worked himself into being a good player on the fourth line. I love Highmore's hustle and work ethic. Yeah, it's unfortunate for them that they lost Tyler Mott, because you look at their sort of underlying numbers, the analytic stats and things like that. They're like stats with Tyler Mott and then without Tyler Mott, and they're way worse without Tyler Mott. But I think they're genuinely fourth line players that can be on a decent team. And I think they have earned another run. Let's see here. Gus says the Canucks got the same amount of points as they were on pace for in the bubble season. True. That is neat. What else we got here? Kai says, proud of the group. Get meaningful games in April is amazing. Still think we need some changes on D. I'm not going to fight you there. The D is not great. I'd like to see a more skilled third line in the future. Lots of exciting pieces. Yeah. And guys like Podkolzin are perfect to sort of build that skilled third line where it's sort of gritty and tough. But you'll get 15, 20 goals out of each of them, and you're laughing, right? What else we got here? Jasker says, you think any other fan base chance their coaches' names? No, so we need to bring them back. Yeah, again, the PR aspect has to be taken into account for sure. Kevin says, ask them I'm going to do any post games for any of the playoff games. They don't do well if they're not the Canucks, so probably not. But I'll consider it. We'll see. We'll see if I'm really into it or not. Did I get one wrong? Someone says Colorado's playing Dallas. Oh, because Nashville has... Oh, I was just looking at the standings. If Nashville loses to Arizona, then they'd play Dallas. Or they'd play Nashville, sorry. Sam says, any team in particular you're cheering for in the playoffs? His is Calgary with Marky and Tanev. I mean, I can't cheer for Calgary because they're Calgary, although I would like them to do well with Marky and Tanev. I think they have a really good team. I want Colorado to go far just because they're super fun to watch. I'm cheering for Tampa Bay in the first round because if Toronto gets knocked out, it would be funny. Man, what a tough matchup for Toronto, to go against the back-to-back Cup champs, even as the number one or as the higher seed. And I really liked Carolina last year, and they didn't really do much, but they've gotten better. You know, they haven't had this many points in a season since actually, I think that they've broke their record that they set when they won the Cup in 2006. So I'd like them to do well. I like Carolina. I like their black jerseys too. Those are sick. Setcher Edler in LA. Good point, Nathaniel, as well. I think Josh Grant says Matthews better show up in the playoffs after scoring 60. It would be pretty sick if Matthews scored like 8 goals in a playoff series or something. Again, I don't like Toronto, but I like the way they play. They're a super fun to watch team. Matthews, Marner, and all those guys are just, they're so good. It's crazy. Agam says we're undefeated in the skates. Make it our thirds. I agree. It should be their thirds, and I I think it will be going into next year. That's my that's the end of the comments that we're going to take. We're at the 30-minute mark here. I just wanted to say thank you all. It has been a really, it's been a fun year. You know, our first year sort of doing this more and more than I had been before. You know, I started this at the beginning of last season, and then to try to do this live after every game. Obviously, I fell off a bit near the end, but it was a lot. I probably did, I don't know how many, I guess I can search this, hey? If I just search post-game show. How many? 59? I think this is the 60th. Pretty good run, I'd say. And you know, all you guys hanging out, I mean, it wouldn't be fun if there's 4 people in here, right? Or 3 people. So you guys for joining and all your supportive comments, and you know, I can only fill about 15 minutes of airtime by myself. So your comments have been very, very useful. So thank you for those. Yeah, as for this off season, we'll see what we do. Again, draft and free agency, I'll definitely be around for those. You'll be able to catch me on Canucks After Dark every Monday night, 10 p.m., unless we reschedule a little bit. So make sure you subscribe to that. The link's in the description, because, you know, I might not be on here a lot unless there's any sort of big news. What am I missing here? I think that's basically it. You know, the Canucks are going to play for 5.5 months. When they come back, I will hopefully be here. And if I don't see most of you, if you guys don't tune into Canucks After Dark, or you're just here for some of the big, if there's any big trade news or any signing in the off season, have a good summer. You know, go out, enjoy the sun. That's my plan. My plan is to kind of disconnect for probably June through August and just go outside, golf a lot, have a good time. So I encourage you all to do the same. And yeah, I think that's gonna be how we wrap it up. I don't know. I'm not much of a speech guy. So I hope you all have a good night. I hope you all have a good summer. And hopefully we are doing this more than 82 times next year. Maybe 100, maybe 105, but maybe just 90. And if the Canucks make the playoffs, that would be nice. So thank you all very much. Have a lovely summer, and I will talk to you all next time.